Hello, I'm Dr. James. Last month, during a community health event, I spent a good deal of time observing men over 60 going about their daily activities. And one thing captured my attention so profoundly that it became impossible to ignore. There was a distinct contrast between two groups of men. Some seemed to just be getting through the day, as if merely surviving, while others moved with an entirely different energy, with a presence that immediately showed they still possessed real strength. And all of this came down to one single, almost trivial skill, which instantly revealed a man's true level of vitality. Most men I observed could no longer perform it. The few who could immediately stood out. Many don't realize this, but a large portion of men after 60 have already accepted the idea that their body and mind will inevitably weaken, as if they've signed a contract with frailty and continue to yield to it without question. But the truth is quite different. If you can still perform 7 fundamental abilities, you're not just moving forward. You are genuinely preserving your strength, your autonomy, and your active life. Before we delve into each one, tell me one thing. Where are you watching from right now? Type your city in the comments below. It's always amazing to see how far this community extends. I'm Dr. James, and for many years I've worked closely with men over 60, helping them preserve their independence, vitality, and quality of life. One thing I've realized along this path is that it's not just age that causes decline. It's what we gradually stop doing, often without even noticing. So, let's explore these 7 abilities together. As I explain each one, honestly, assess where you stand. This isn't meant to criticize you. It's here to give you awareness. And awareness is always the first step toward preserving what you still have, or regaining what may have been lost. Let's start with the first, such an everyday thing that many only notice difficulties when they're already limited. You know what I always pay attention to in a man over 60? Not his arms, not his belly, not his weight, but how he reacts to something as simple as climbing 2 flights of stairs. It might seem trivial, but this small action reveals an incredible amount of information about the real state of your body. Because climbing stairs doesn't just test your breath. It tests your heart, your lungs, circulation, leg strength, coordination, and even the speed at which your body can produce energy. And the truth is, most men in this age group already struggle with this. Some reach the top, breathing as if they've just run a marathon. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a quiet signal that the cardiovascular system is losing efficiency, leg muscles are weakening, and the body no longer responds as it should. On the other hand, when a man climbs those 2 flights effortlessly, without stopping midway, without that deep gasp at the end, it shows that the heart still has reserves, that the lungs still expand well, and that the legs still deliver power. This means independence. It means you can walk through an airport, go up to the 2nd floor of your home, walk with your family, travel, and live spontaneously. And more than that, it means you're already ahead of 60% of older men. Life becomes bigger when the body keeps up. And the most interesting thing is that this ability is completely trainable. Even those who are currently out of breath can improve it very quickly. Start with 1 flight, slowly, without rushing. Go up, pause briefly, breathe, and then continue. Repeat this several times a week. The body has an amazing ability to adapt when it receives consistent stimulation. This simple test reveals much more than it seems. It reveals whether your body is capable of supporting the life you want to live, or if it has long been asking for help, but you haven't noticed yet. And after the body, I always look at another thing that seems small, but says much more than people assume. Memory of the previous day. Something simple, like recalling what you had for dinner yesterday. Many think this is unimportant or just a detail of routine, but it's not. This small test shows how your brain functions every day, without effort, without pressure, in the most natural way. When a man has to stop, think, or strain his mind to remember something so recent, it often indicates that the brain is no longer processing, storing, or retrieving information as it used to. This is not a lack of intelligence. It's not about age. It's a quiet signal that blood flow to the brain is decreasing, that sleep is no longer restorative as it should be, or that stress is beginning to occupy too much space in the mind. Now, when someone answers immediately, without hesitation, that's an excellent sign. It means the brain is active, connected, that the memory area, the hippocampus, is still receiving oxygen, nutrients, and stimuli. This means you are still capable of learning new things, having deep conversations, and making decisions clearly. And for a man over 60, this is golden. Because the truth is, memory loss rarely starts with big forgetfulness. It begins precisely like this, by erasing small details of daily life. The mind becomes slower, more foggy, and by the time someone notices, they already feel disconnected from their own routine. Science shows that information processing speed can drop up to 20% between 60 and 70 years old if the brain doesn't receive stimulation. The good news: memory is highly trainable. Reading a little every day, learning something new, walking, solving crosswords, talking to people who make you think. All of this literally improves brain blood flow. What's good for the heart is good for the brain. And when you stimulate both, the mind responds in an amazing way. This simple test shows whose mind remains sharp and who needs to start taking care of their mental clarity today, before it gradually slips away without warning. And there's another test that I consider a true watershed. It very clearly separates those who still trust their own bodies and those who have already lost that confidence without even noticing. It's very simple. Standing on one leg for about 15 seconds, without leaning on anything, without swaying too much, without putting the other foot down to avoid falling. Science shows that older adults who cannot stand on one leg for 10 seconds have up to an 84% higher risk of death in the subsequent 10 years. It seems silly, but it reveals a whole combination of abilities that many ignore. To stand on one leg, your body needs balance, coordination, strength, a working core, stabilizing muscles, corrected vision, and most importantly, fast and precise nervous system function. All of these must work together simultaneously. When a man can do this naturally, it shows that the body is still responsive. It shows that the brain, muscles, and sensory organs continue to communicate with each other. It shows that you still have that quiet confidence that prevents stumbling, falling, or unexpected jerks. This ability is directly linked to independence, because someone who has balance remains stable on the street, in the bathroom, in the yard, anywhere with uneven ground. Now, when a person loses balance right from the start, or has to hold onto a wall, it usually means the body is losing this subtle integration. And this is one of the first signs of the risk of falls, which are one of the main threats to autonomy after 60. The good news? Balance can be trained impressively and effectively. Simple things: standing on one leg while brushing your teeth, walking in a straight line by placing heel to toe, practicing slow and controlled movements, like in Tai Chi. All of this strengthens the connection between the brain and muscles. This test not only shows whether you can maintain balance, it shows whether your body can automatically protect you when something unexpected happens. And men who maintain this type of balance continue to walk through the world confidently, without fear of getting injured at every step. And there's one thing many don't even think relates to health, but for me, it's one of the most important indicators of emotional vitality: the ability to laugh sincerely. Not just a smile at the corners of the lips, not boredom, not a polite chuckle, but a deep, spontaneous laugh. The kind that comes from the chest, that shakes the body, that makes the eyes squint. It seems unrelated to physical health, but it is directly connected. Most men after 60 become more reserved, more serious, more hardened by life experiences. They accumulate responsibilities, losses, disappointments, scars no one sees, and subtly lose their sense of lightness. They lose the ability to relax, to find humor in simple things, to experience moments of true joy. When a man can still laugh like that, it reveals something much deeper. It shows that emotions are still alive, that the mind is still capable of finding pleasure, connection, spontaneity. It shows that the stress level hasn't consumed everything yet. And the most interesting thing is that genuine laughter isn't just a feeling. It's a powerful biological reaction. It releases endorphins, lowers cortisol, improves circulation, relaxes muscles, and strengthens the immune system. It's literally a natural medicine, fast and free. Men who can laugh like that usually build lighter relationships, have more pleasant conversations, and create deeper connections. They attract people. They inspire trust. They show that life hasn't managed to destroy everything inside. Now, if you haven't truly laughed in a long time, that also says something. It shows that perhaps your mind is overloaded, that your days have become too heavy, that life has become rigid. But this can be regained. Sometimes it's enough to start encountering things that bring joy again, to watch something that makes you laugh, to talk to people who make you feel good, to seek lighter moments, to allow yourself to feel pleasure without guilt, without shame, without rushing. This indicator speaks less about your sense of humor and more about your resilience. It shows not only whether your body endures, but also whether your inner fire still burns. And there's another thing I observe with particular attention because it directly affects how long a man will live well: the quality of the friendships he still maintains. I'm not talking about acquaintances, superficial conversations, or formal greetings. I'm talking about real friends. About people you talk to, share thoughts with, share experiences with, laugh with, and express yourself to. About men you are truly connected with. After 60, many things change. Some retire, some move, some lose contact without even noticing. Routines change, social circles shrink, and many end up isolated without realizing it. But this quiet isolation is one of the most dangerous things for a man's health at this phase of life. Science has already shown that too much loneliness is almost as harmful as daily smoking. It has a real impact on the body, mood, immune system, and brain. When a man still has good friends nearby, it's reflected in how he speaks, how he moves, how he looks at life. Sincere conversations keep the brain active. Emotional support reduces anxiety, decreases inflammation, and even improves sleep. And having someone to share something with, good or bad, makes the heart lighter. Friendship is one of the hidden pillars of longevity. On the other hand, when life becomes quieter, when days pass without real communication, it comes at a cost. The mind slows down, the mood worsens, and a man loses some of the motivation to move, leave the house, and take care of himself. But this doesn't have to be forever. Connections can be restored by joining a group, participating in activities, volunteering, or sending a message to someone you've lost contact with. Sometimes, one step is enough for social life to rekindle. This indicator says a lot about something almost no one notices. No one ages well alone. Men who maintain friendships also maintain joy, curiosity, and a desire to live. And this is reflected in every aspect of health. And there's one more thing that many don't even imagine as a health indicator, but it truly is, and a very important one. I always ask if a man can still cook a full meal from start to finish. I'm not talking about reheating something ready-made in the microwave or frying something out of habit. I'm talking about thinking about what you want to eat, choosing ingredients, chopping, seasoning, cooking, transforming raw foods into a delicious meal. This reveals a huge set of abilities that work simultaneously. First, it shows independence. After 60, many begin to depend on others for simple things, and this gradually strips a person of autonomy, even if they don't notice it. When you still cook for yourself, you preserve an important part of your identity. It also shows the ability to plan, because cooking requires remembering steps, coordinating time, organizing what comes first and what comes next. It's a direct exercise for the brain. There's something else too. Men who cook for themselves generally eat better. They choose more natural foods, control the amount of salt, fat, and sugar. This affects circulation, blood pressure, muscles, energy, everything. The act of cooking itself increases the likelihood that you are nourishing your body correctly, and this directly impacts longevity. Now, when a person stops cooking entirely, it usually indicates two things. Either they've lost the habit, or they've lost confidence. Sometimes it's because memory has become slower. Sometimes it's because coordination is no longer as good. Sometimes it's because motivation has decreased. But in any case, it's reversible. You can start simply. A basic dish, easy chopping, a short recipe. The main thing is for the brain and hands to start working together again. Cooking is not just about making food. It's about self-care. It's a way of telling your body that it still deserves attention. And when a man retains this ability, he also retains dignity, autonomy, and a very important connection to his own life. And there's a final point that, in my opinion, brings together everything we've talked about. Because it's useless to have physical strength, balance, memory, friends, and autonomy if you've lost the ability to make decisions independently. I always observe whether a man is still capable of making decisions quickly, clearly, without getting stuck, without asking everyone for their opinion, without a constant fear of making a mistake. This says a lot about the health of the mind. Decision-making is a function that depends on the brain's executive function, the area responsible for evaluating information, comparing options, planning, problem-solving, and most importantly, acting. After 60, many men begin to doubt their own ability to choose. They become uncertain. They need to confirm everything with someone. They take too long to decide simple things: what to eat, which route to take, what to buy. This indecisiveness is not just a behavior. It's a signal that the brain is losing speed, clarity, and inner confidence. Now, when a man still makes decisions firmly, confidently, without constantly second-guessing himself, it shows an active, connected, and attentive mind. It shows that he still trusts his own experience, his own intuition, his own perspective on life. It shows that he still sees himself as the main actor in his life, not as someone who needs others to manage everything for him. And this has enormous significance for autonomy, because a man who loses the ability to decide also loses direction and gradually begins to live more passively. And someone who maintains this clarity of mind continues to lead his own way, continues to be respected, continues to be heard, and continues to feel alive. And the good news is that this ability can also be trained. Start making small decisions without asking anyone's opinion. Choose a meal, choose a time, choose a route. Decide quickly, gradually, confidence returns, the brain responds, and the mind becomes firmer. This last indicator speaks to something very deep. It's not just the body that ages. The personality ages with it. And preserving the ability to make decisions means preserving who you are. After going through these 7 indicators, there's something I want you to take very seriously. You don't need to meet all of them to prove you're still strong. If you recognized yourself in 4 or 5, that already puts you far ahead of most men your age. And if you notice that you're still in control of 6 or 7, it means you're living in a way that many consider impossible after 60. The point is simple. These signals don't measure perfection. They measure your participation in your own life. Every staircase you climb effortlessly, every clear memory of yesterday, every firm decision, all of it is proof that you're not just aging. You're continuing to stay in control. And the most important thing to understand is that absolutely all 7 of these points can be trained. Nothing is lost. Nothing is final. Vitality doesn't disappear suddenly. It merely weakens when you stop paying attention to it. But when you start moving again, stimulating your brain, connecting with people, and taking care of yourself, your body responds, your mind responds, and your life responds. Before you go, I want to ask you for one thing, just one. If this video opened your eyes, made you think about your own strength, or reminded you of a man who needs to hear all this, please share this material with him right now. You can't even imagine what a difference the right information at the right moment can make in someone's life. A big embrace, and until the next video.